Mike, overcome with emotion is exactly how I would describe LeBron's reaction as he shares a hug with Kyrie. We'll get in a minute, but he is still crying tears of joy. LeBron.
I'm sorry, Doris.
No worries, Kyrie. LeBron, as soon as that buzzer sounded, your emotions let loose. Can you describe what you're feeling right now?
I set out a goal 2 years when I came back to bring a championship to this city. I gave everything that I had. I poured my heart, my blood, my sweat, my tears to this game, and against all odds, I don't know why we want to take the hardest road. I don't know why the man above gives me the hardest road, but it's nothing the man above don't put you in situations that you can't handle. And I just kept that same positive attitude.
Anyway, welcome to this wild Monday we have on here. I got Chris Dietz of Fifth Down Sports. You know what I mean? Rod on Center of Middays. You know what I mean? Midday Sports with Rod and the Lunch Crew. How you doing, Dietz?
Doing all right. Was that a clip from yesterday? Because he should be hugging Kyrie for yesterday.
No, I don't think it's all Kyrie, man. Be honest with you, I think it's a lot of Luka.
27. They gave up a 27-point lead in the third quarter.
That's the whole team fault. You can't put one player on it.
Oh, I'm not, no, but Kyrie happened to be on the Dallas Mavericks, and it just what a joke! What a joke that was. Watching that game, it was that game was horrible.
It was, but let me tell you this. No adjustments. That falls on Jason Kidd, falls on the players. You're not supposed to lose no 27-point lead.
No. And they couldn't make a shot. They were there was one series where they had 3 wide open shots. One from the corner, one from the wing, and one from straight up top. And they missed all 3 of them. I mean, you can't be an NBA team and you can't be an NBA player and miss wide open corner shot. Like the corner shot should go in every time.
But I told somebody this yesterday in the chat, uncensored pod chat. Jared Vanderbilt, what a pickup what that was, Deets.
Yeah,
this is his energy. He's had 4 steals yesterday. He had a double-double. I think he had 15 points, 16 rebounds. What a pickup for him. You know what I mean?
He had that steal where he threw the ball, where he saved the ball and just threw it behind his head.
You know what I mean? That reminded me of that bum Michael Jordan's steal. But anyway,
he steals the ball and just throws it over his shoulder, and it's right to his teammate for a wide open layup.
And AD played like AD, which was that fadeaway on Luka. That was a hell of a fadeaway.
And protecting the rim, he blocked Luka a couple times. AD was doing what AD needed to do.
But which was it was a hell of a game. But let's move on to the Bucks, man. What's going on with Jrue Holiday? He's becoming. That was a hell of a game he had. He had 30+ points. That was a good game.
You see why the Suns made the moves that they did, and without Kevin Durant, they don't have a scorer. They don't have a guy who can get. I mean, they obviously have a scorer in Devin Booker. They have a shooter in Devin Booker. Booker can shoot. He can't get his own shot. He can't make his own thing happen. He needs somebody else that can create their own shot, which is why they went out and got Kevin Durant. So when Kevin Durant's not on the floor, well, the Suns are.
Look at that! Look at that Puerto Rican with that fresh cut. I don't know. I thought that was a model for a minute. Man. Where's the ponytail at? Where's the ponytail at?
What's going on, man?
What happened to the ponytail, man? What happened?
Man, sometimes you just need change, man. That's change. Can't always look the same.
What's this thing? This haircut? I've never heard of it.
Oh, we can see you haven't heard of it.
I've never heard of this. I've never heard of this.
You can see you haven't heard of it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, man, we just talk a little bit basketball, man. But
they talk about the Bucks. The Bucks. That's the thing about the Bucks. The Bucks are built to win without Giannis, where other teams like the Suns are not built to win without their stars. The Bucks have Drew Holiday. They have Brook Lopez. They have.
They're built to win in the playoffs, but they're not going to win no finals without Giannis.
Nah.
No. But I'm talking about game. I'm talking about one game situation. Yesterday's game playing without they played without Giannis. They're okay with playing without. They can play without Giannis because they have those other guys that can step up and do other things.
You got Middleton, you got Lopez, you got Holiday. They have a team. They have a team behind
Bobby
Giannis.
Portis.
I'm saying, Bobby Portis. You have players that are there that can score, that can do what they can survive without Giannis for now.
Mm-hmm.
But they can survive a regular season. They can't survive a 7-game. They won't survive a 7-game series without Giannis.
Boston without Giannis.
Lopez stepped up yesterday too. Good shot blocking. He had a couple layups. Hook layups. He did a great job. He really improved over the years. Cause I remember when he first came out, it was looking pretty bad for him. He was a little like Sideshow Bob off of The Simpsons. He didn't have too much of a game.
Well, that's what happens. That's what happens when you play with the Nets.
When he was actually on the Nets, they had a pretty good team. He's evolved his game. He's added a 3-point shot to it. He's evolved as he's gotten older. But the Bucks are deep, man. That's besides Boston. I think that's probably the second deepest team in the NBA because Boston is deep. That's
the problem with Boston going forward. Boston is deep, and for regular season that's awesome. But in the playoffs, it gets cut down to seven guys. It's a 7-man roster in the playoffs. You're not rolling out 9-10 deep in the playoffs, which is a problem for Boston because they need to have their 2 guys go, and they need to have the rest of the guys there to pick them up. So,
but Wise, how are you liking this Jalen Bronson player at the Knicks? You know what I mean?
He's been
a dog. He's definitely been a dog.
He's been one of the best point guards in the NBA this year.
I feel like he should have been an All-Star this year.
The snub.
He should have.
The snub.
He should have been, but he's gonna make people pay now. Like he's got a chip on his shoulder. Adding Josh Hart has added that grind that we needed, that dog that we needed to get that loose ball, to get that rebound, to help close out the game.
I feel like the Mavs should have just gave him the bag, man, because I think they just work better together. I feel like Bronson and Luka.
Well,
whoa.
So as you can see, it's you can see how the Mavericks are dealing now with Kyrie and having Luka together, and it's not working.
Yeah,
it really is not working with those 2 players. But it's oh man, I know they regret not re-signing him because he's shown that he's a every year he's been in the NBA, he's improved, and now this year he's just taking it to the next level because he's been given the opportunity to show what he's capable of.
He definitely was giving my Lakers the hibachi that game. He was giving the hibachi. Dennis Schroeder could not stick him. Nobody could really stick him. His ball handling is ridiculous. He gets where he wants to get at will.
And he doesn't turn the ball over. He
doesn't turn the ball over.
Does not turn the ball over. And that's what you need from your point guard. And that's what the Knicks needed. because now Julius doesn't have to have the ball in his hand. I'm saying he has someone who could create for him, and now that also now you can't double team Julius because you got Jalen on the other side, and you got Hart who's playing well. At the beginning of the year, everybody was talking about the kid we picked up from the Clippers, Hartenstein.
Mm-hmm.
He's been when Mitch went down, he stepped into the lineup and did his thing. He showed his value. They've added the pieces that they needed to add. I think Hart has been that key component that they truly needed, was that dog to help them close out games, because they've led a lot of games and given up the lead. And since they've added Josh Hart, it's just been different. He's been closing out games for them. So
I think the Knicks are still a prime shooter away from being a team that you can count on, because they don't have that guy that, game is on the line, or yeah, and I'm not talking about end of the game. I'm talking about a guy who you need to stop a run, a guy who can just bang a three and put an end to a team coming back, or like we saw yesterday with the Mavericks. They didn't have anybody who can make a shot. And that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a guy who can just get an open shot and just bang it. Once it's released, it's in.
And that's what Jalen Brunson has brought to the Knicks. He's brought that. He's got it now, because before you knew you had to get it was going to Randall. The ball, he was going to. Now Jalen Brunson can take over a game. He's shown it was a span of 4 games. He averaged over 30 points per game. He's shown he can score. Adding Josh Hart now, again, gives us that other element where before we were good at rebounding, right? But we weren't that great at getting second chance points. Adding Josh Hart has changed that for us, because now we're getting those second chance rebounds and those hustle plays. And yeah, to Deets, I think Jalen Brunson has been that key element that you say we've lacked, and getting the point guard that we needed, because that's what the Knicks surely they needed, a point guard, and he's proven that he is capable of playing in New York. He's shown he's a leader. He's shown he can be clutch. And he even when he's having a bad night like he did against the Pelicans, we're still able to go and blow out the Pelicans and have a great, and because you have other players now contributing, because they don't have to worry like before. RJ Barrett's having an up and down year. But he tends to pick it up during the second half of the season after the All-Star break for some reason. So now if we can get him back to second half RJ last year, Obi Toppin is coming back from a knee injury. We get Mitchell Robinson's just coming back from an injury. He's missed a month or so. Now all these components are coming together, getting healthy for the stretch run. Who says we can't be the 5th seed? Who says we can't catch the Cavs? We still got a game with them. We got a big game tonight against Boston. We got to show what we can do there. And then we have Brooklyn on Wednesday. So the 5th seed can be had. Maybe even the 4th seed if we can catch the Cavs.
You know what I mean? That's a lot, man. I like how what you call is playing though. This fun Kings team. The Kings are so fun to watch, man.
They're so young and
so fun to watch.
They're so young and Mike Brown has got them playing at another level, man. They lack probably 1 or 2 key veterans to help that team, but the Kings are dynamic, man. They got a young nucleus, man. They got some young players. Keegan
Murray, shooter.
They have the pieces. Sabonis has been playing great this year for them. They have
Aaron Fox stepped his game up too a lot this year.
He is one of the better young players in the league.
But guys, let's get off the NBA, man. What are y'all looking forward to? Have anybody been watching spring training for baseball? I caught the Twins versus the Orioles. Anybody catch the game?
I know Dietz is a little disappointed because everybody was talking about next year Manny Machado is coming to the Mets. Manny Machado is coming to the Mets.
I never subscribe. I never
I
put any stock into that.
I know you did, but a lot of Mets fans that I know
Mm-hmm.
were like, "Oh yeah, next year we're gonna get Manny Machado." Manny Machado.
Look at that big bag he got though.
Signs 11 years, $350 million contract.
Have you guys ever been to San Diego?
That's a beautiful city.
Have you guys ever been there? Why would you ever leave there?
No, it's beautiful in San Diego. But the weather is magnificent in San Diego.
I'm still kind of bitter he left us. He left the O's. I'm still bitter about this.
The O's weren't going to pay him.
We should have just gave him equity in the team.
The O's weren't paying him 11 years, $350 million.
O's were not going to give him that money.
Not paying him that. You
know what one player I'm happy for actually?
Who?
Trey Mancini.
Come on, Wise. Don't bring that up, man.
He gets traded to the Astros and wins the title.
Oh my God! After he beat cancer.
After he beats cancer, so I'm happy for Trey Mancini. I'm not an Astros fan, but I like Trey Mancini. I actually seen him play a couple of times. I've actually been to Baltimore. I love going to Baltimore and watching the Yankees play in Baltimore because it's like another home game for us.
It's another home. It's another home. It's like the Yankees' home away from home because everybody from New York goes down to Baltimore, watches the game, and gets out of there. It's weird watching a Yankees Orioles game at Camden Yards because it's basically 75% Yankee fans.
Oh yeah, it's another home game for us. I love it.
It's crazy.
I love that fact. Yeah,
I love Camden Yards. Camden Yards is
it's a beautiful park. It's a beautiful park.
A hitter-friendly field.
It's hitter-friendly. You get to seats are not that expensive. First of all,
and you're right on top. Almost feel like you're right on top.
I was like 8 rows from third base, 8 rows behind third base, and I paid probably less than $100 for the seats. Some beautiful seats. You go and enjoy the bar before you even get into the park. You enjoy a couple of the bars and places across the street where you get some good food. It's a great environment. I love going down to Baltimore, and
it's easy to get to too. Like you don't have to go like out of your way. It's right off the highway.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to go to another game this year. Definitely going to try to go to a game this year.
And I was listening to I think it's a little bit older podcast on the Pivot, and Derek G was talking about the old Yankee field and how you had to park in the hood a little bit.
Yeah.
And he said that used to be crazy for the opposing opponents dealing with that, batteries and wildness.
The Bronx was crazy, man, in the 90s. It was madness. And now with the way the stadium is now, it's much more luxurious and stuff. But
it's the same thing. It's the same thing at City. It's the same thing at City Field, where like you look one way and it's the field and everything is beautiful, and then if you're in the upper deck and you look right to your right, you see about 10 million chop shops, and that's about it. That's about it for the other direction.
It's about Mechanics Road. You talking about Mechanics Road? Yeah, it's nothing but like shacks of mechanic shops. Like I'm talking about, like they look like shanty shacks and stuff like that. And it's you drive down the street and it's like they sell used parts, they sell tires. It's everything you can imagine. It's a junk man's dream.
Yep.
So what are your expectations for the Yankees this year, Wise?
It's always World Series a bust, man. It's championships a bust. There's no other thing. We don't play for second place. That's the difference, man. Everybody else, they're happy with playing for making the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Nah, we compete for championships every year. That's the goal.
Aren't y'all like the last team to go back to back? Go for a three-peat, right?
Yes, we're the last team to repeat and to go three-peat. Yeah.
So you say you think your bullpen got better over the off season or no? It's pretty much the same.
Well, Chapman is gone. We've added we added back Tommy Canley's back.
It was addition by subtraction, getting rid of
Getting rid
Chapman.
of Chapman. We have some young studs in there that might surprise a few people. Michael King is coming back. Our question is the left side of the infield. It's third base, shortstop, and left field. Those are the biggest questions for the Yankees right now, because we already know who's playing first base. You already know Glaber is playing second. Judge is going to play right field. Harrison Bader is going to play center field. So we have that side of the field, but we don't know who's going to win the left field position. We have
Who would you like to have?
Who would I like win? I would like the young kid Cabrera to win the position.
Okay.
It's Aaron Hicks. He hasn't shown me that money that they gave him he's worth. He's too injury prone. I don't know if he can stay on the field, maybe he can produce, but he has to stay on the field. And again, he's a rhythm player, so he has to make sure he stays healthy and gets into rhythm. But he hasn't shown me that he's capable of staying healthy. But I like to see Cabrera win the battle, or even Florio. Yeah.
Because what you call was a monster at third for y'all. Cano, back in the day, he was a monster at third.
Who at third? That second base Cano played second.
So he played second for y'all? I thought you played third.
No played second.
No. A-Rod played third. Jeter played second.
I was just going to say you haven't had to say that for almost 2 decades. The left side of the infield, left side of the infield was mine. Was always under control. You knew who was going on here.
When we had Gio, we had a solid third baseman. He was Gio Sherler was an all-star with us. We had to give him up. I don't know why, because we got Josh Donaldson, IKF, and Ben Roosevelt, who stays hurt. He's gonna miss the first part of this season. He missed the majority of last season. IKF is a solid defensive shortstop, but last year he made a lot of errors. And when you play shortstop for the New York Yankees, man, you're replacing Jeter.
You can't replace that.
And before that, you had after that you had Didi, who played a great shortstop for the Yankees. He was a great pickup. I was kind of upset when we let him go, but it's going to be an interesting season. I'm kind of happy the Mets signed Verlander. I love that fact because it hurt the Astros. So for me, it was a plus. But I don't think they should have let DeGrom go.
Oh, it wasn't a question of letting him go. DeGrom wanted to get out of New York. He took less money to go to Texas. So, all right, like there's nothing you could. Everybody said, "Oh, how do you let him go?" Like we offered you more money and more years, and he decided he just didn't want to be in New York anymore.
Some people are not built to be in New York, man. And it's not like he couldn't perform. He performed in New York. He won 2 Cy Youngs? 2 Cy Youngs in New York?
Yeah. 2 Cy Youngs. He last year he mulled majority of the year, was under 1 for an ERA. I mean,
he's a great pitcher. But we'll see, yeah.
What are expectations? Do you think the Philly's going to be red hot in the beginning of the season? You think they're just going to be back on a red hot streak or hitting?
The Braves are still the class of the NL East.
I don't know.
There's no question about that.
I don't know because the Mets have made additions to compete. Philly adding Trey Turner is huge. I'm saying they have a solid pitch staff. If the bullpen issue is resolved, they're a pretty good team to try to beat. But I feel the Mets made some solid additions as far as getting Verlander to replace DeGrom. I think Batty. I would love to see Batty win the third base job, and now you could keep Escobar as your ultimate utility guy or whatever. But it's gonna be interesting, man.
Ooh, Cody Clemens is a good player, though.
He's an outfielder, isn't
he? Yeah, he's a good player, though. I loved watching him in college.
But let's move along. Have anybody been watching the XFL? What's your thoughts about it? I love the you can hear the quarterback make the calls. You can hear the OC. You see the NFL trying to steal some of their, the innovative ideas from the XFL.
Not that kind of stuff. You'll never get that in the NFL.
Yeah, there's certain things that I don't think they'll pick up. Was it in one? What was it? What is it with the kickoff?
The kickoff is like they're 5 yards apart, and the kicker is like 20 yards behind them.
Oh, that's the XFL?
That's that's the XFL. That's what they do in all of these. That's what they're doing out in the XFL. They started that in the USFL.
I like that fact where they also wait till the receiving team catches the ball before they move, right?
Yeah, that's why they start. That's why they start on the other teams. I think it's the other team's 45-yard line or something.
I like hearing the calls though. I love hearing the calls, and you hear them fuck up a little bit. The calls, oh damn, you know what I mean. I love that aspect of the XFL. You know what I mean? I like the commentary. They have a couple good guys on the mic. And you seen Wade Phillips going 2-0 with this team. I love their defense. It's not so much. I hate the referees in the NFL. Too much yellow laundry. It's not so much yellow laundry unless it's clear. You know what I mean? So I'm liking it so far.
I actually haven't really been able to sit down and watch a game. I've seen highlights here and there. But I'm gonna try this week and try to sit down and watch.
I watched the Brahmas play yesterday.
Oh yeah. Albert Hainsworth got his first win.
Hines Ward. Hines Ward is the coach.
San Antonio. Yeah.
The team colors are awful for almost all these teams.
Does it kind of remind you of
their jerseys are horrendous. They gotta fix that.
I'm kind of a little disappointed they don't have I understand why. I get it, money wise, but there's the New York team, man. Kind of disappointed me.
Yeah.
Well, New York, they tried that in the original XFL. Yeah. New York, look. We all know New York is a professional. It's a professional city. They'll support the Knicks. They'll support the Giants. They'll support the Jets. They don't support Syracuse football. They don't support St. John's basketball. The city doesn't. It doesn't do. It's such a professional city that you can't have minor league teams in the city. They have to be outside of New York.
Well, that's not true because the Cyclones do pretty well. The Cyclones do pretty well in Coney Island, the Mets minor league affiliate. But again, that's because it's Coney Island.
That's because that's Coney Island. Coney Island is because it's during the summer. It's during the summer when everybody's at Coney Island anyway, and they're like, "Oh, there's a game, sweet, let's go to that." But like I said, as far as getting talked about, there's no way an XFL team would get talked about during basketball season because everybody would be talking about the Knicks.
Well,
there's no way an XFL team would get talked about during baseball season because the Yankees and Mets would be going on.
But the USFL, the Generals did pretty good.
Yeah, they did pretty good.
So I understand. Well, I understand from a marketing standpoint, a non-professional league would get buried in New York. They would get buried, and it really wouldn't. I don't think it wouldn't do well as far as like some of these other places, like San Antonio. They got nothing else going on.
Yeah. Well, then maybe put it in an upstate team, say New York setting. I don't know.
I mean, you could probably do like an Albany team. Like if they did a team in Albany, you could probably do that.
Probably.
Yeah, I like it so far, man. I have really no complaints. Like you said about the jersey, the jerseys kind of do look like Any Given Sunday. You remember the movie Any Given Sunday? It's kind of cheesy. I understand what you mean.
They got to get some designers in there. They got to get somebody with some creativity in there, because the jerseys just I didn't. There's just too much going on.
I didn't really like some of their jerseys. To me, it was just like
I forget who they were playing. I forget who the Brahmas colors are all wrong. They're all wrong. I don't know what they're doing. They should be black and gold. They should just be straight up black and gold, because they're the Brahmas, and we all know what that is. The Brahma Bull, the Rock, black and gold. That's what they should be. But for some reason they're not. But the team that were playing looked like the Seattle highlighter uniforms that they wear on like Thursday nights. That's
Orlando, right?
Is
that the Orlando Breakers or whatever it is?
Yeah, the Orlando team. They didn't look. They didn't look. It just didn't look right.
They're just little like highlighters. Yeah, you're absolutely right on that.
I mean, if you're Orlando,
kind of looks
smart
like
about this. Just be black. Just be black and red like the Orlando Predators.
It's looking kind of like Rod's background.
You always told me, you know what I mean? Oh, go bright because you're dark skinned. When I go bright,
listen. No. You had some black ass shit on you, and you being black as fuck was not working. I'm saying now you're in a bright room. Before you had your green screen on, it'll be all black, and then you have all black. I'm like, damn, man. If you didn't smile and I see your teeth, I couldn't see you.
You guys brought up backup. Check out some of the stuff I got for my backup.
Oh shucks.
Oh, that's a sweet Bender. That's a sweet Bender.
I got the Joker that I have to put up.
That's nice.
And I got the best of them all. The Batman Who Laughs.
Oh man.
So the Batman version of Joker. I gotta put those up in the studio. I'm just trying to get them on the wall behind me so that they can be seen. But yeah, I picked those up this weekend.
Yeah, I'm gonna be back in Dominican Republic, so I'm about to be a little darker after my vacation.
Actually, it's funny because my wife just left to the Dominican Republic today. Because
I'm going to Punta Cana.
That's where she flew into Punta Cana.
Yeah.
But it's a 35-minute drive to where her family's from.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, she's over there now. She should be landing probably within the next couple of hours.
I'll be drinking a lot. I drink a lot of that Mommy Juana.
I got some. I actually got some Mama Juana here. It's been fermented. It's been there for.
Oh shit!
It's been because I don't drink like that, so it's been there. It's there fermenting. I can't even say it right now. Fermenting, and so it's anybody who
yeah makes me LeBron going to the hoop. It's like I'm playing, but
what you mean traveling to the hoop?
Yeah, I'm traveling.
Does.
But
it finally got called. Yes, it finally got called yesterday, and he flipped out. What?
I like them.
He finally called you on a travel, dude, and he traveled and sprained his ankle in the same play.
I like them posting up more, so I'm glad about the win. I like when he goes to the hoop and post up. Anyway, let's get off the LeBron talk. I got that at 4:30. I'm not trying to get Wise to log off, but Wise, how do you think they're going to solve this Daniel Jones situation with the contract? If you were the GM, how would you solve it? How much money would you give him per year? What kind of incentives would you give them?
So the Cardinals done fucked it up for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Giving Kyler Murray that fucking contract has set up fucking unrealistic standards for this quarterbacks thing, because there's no way that Daniel Jones is worth $40 million. I'm sorry, you had one good year, and I'm a Giants fan, and I understand. Prior to that, you had a head coach who was a special teams coach, and then before that, you had Pat Shermer.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand he hasn't had the proper coach, and now with Brian Daboll there, and Brian Daboll showing us what he's capable of,
Mm-hmm.
but 15 touchdown passes is not worth $40 million. And I get it. He didn't have a lot of weapons. It was him and Saquon. That was the majority of the Giants' offense.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing that if you're the GM, that's the thing that you have to go to Daniel Jones and you have to talk about. Hey, look, if we give you $40 million, we can't bring Saquon back. We need to bring both of y'all back. So we're going to work with both of you and make this so that both of you can be here and be together and be what we need for the next 5-6 years, and you guys can build together and we can get this thing going. And the incentive that we're going to give you is we're going to upgrade the wide receiver position and get you more. And that's where the incentives come in of 20 touchdown passes, 25. Here's your bonuses. Here's where you're going to hit your bonuses. And that's where you build it and you say, but we can't exhaust our cap on you because we have to bring in more guys around you to make this whole team better. Because we just can't afford to get both of you at top dollar price because both of you are top dollar guys.
Listen, as far as defensive line, I think our defensive line can match up with anybody in the league. Our linebacker core. That's where we need help at. Our secondary with McKinnon and Love, we got some pieces there that are great. It's just that linebacker core is just.
I like that tight end you got. I like
besides Aziz, who's more of a Russian, who's more of an end type player.
Mm-hmm.
You need a middle. You need
a middle linebacker.
You need a middle linebacker.
That middle linebacker to really start taking control of this defense and leading the defense. Daniel Bellinger, I love Daniel Bellinger. If it wasn't for the fact that he got poked in the eye and he missed all those games, he would have had a really good year. Him and Daniel Jones were building up that chemistry, and even when he came back, he showed glimpses of what he's capable of. So yeah, I love Daniel Bellinger. I think he's going to be a big part of that offense. We just need that big threat wide receiver. We need to go out there and get DeAndre Hopkins.
That'd be a good move. Cheap.
Okay, hurt.
And also, there's a lot of good FCS receivers coming out where you can get them at 6th, 5th, 7th round. Shaq Davis, Kamari Evans.
Shaq Davis is a monster.
I even like that tight end out of I think he's from South Dakota. What was his name? Tucker something, Deets? What's his name? Tucker.
Yeah, I was just looking. I haven't looked at I haven't gone tight end. I haven't gone deep into the tight ends, but yeah, Tucker Kraft.
Yeah, Tucker Kraft. There's a lot of good little weapons coming out. Out of FCS, which are a little more, draft friendly. Pick friendly. Deets, what are you hearing about? I'm hearing that y'all giving up on Dak and y'all going to try to get CJ Stroud. How do you think that's any possibility of that happening?
I think that's fan baiting stuff. That's fan wishing stuff. And to be honest, that's a horrible idea. I think that's a horrible idea. I'm not a big CJ Stroud guy. I really haven't seen a lot of him. A lot that I like out of him at the college level that would make me go, all right, this is the guy this is a guy who can lead an NFL team. I don't see much out of CJ Stroud as far as the NFL is concerned. You look at the last using history. I mean, you go back, look at all the Ohio State quarterbacks: Justin Fields, JT Barrett, Dwayne Haskins. Unfortunately, what happened to Dwayne Haskins? But even Dwayne Haskins before him, before what happened to him, he was relegated to basically being a backup.
Yeah.
JT Barrett didn't even sniff the league, had to go to Canada to get to play. Justin Fields, you're seeing what Justin Fields kind of is. He's a running back playing quarterback. CJ Stroud is not that guy because he's not athletic like Justin Fields, but I don't see him as that kind of a passer. Yeah, at least he wasn't at Ohio State. At Ohio State, he was good at hitting wide receivers when they're wide open, but
he didn't. Yeah, he didn't show
me
that.
That window is not. The window is not as big as it is in the Big Ten.
A quarterback that had a great year and led his team to the college playoffs was Duggan. Max Duggan.
Max
Duggan. Yeah. But nobody's really talking about him. They're talking about the two big names on the top of the board. But this kid came out and showed that he's a winner. He's a baller.
That's why I think
out of all of them,
Max Duggan will be. I think he'll be early. I think he'll be an early third. He'll be an early third rounder.
Out of all of them, I think he's probably the most pro ready. I don't think Bryce Young is. I think he's more of a.
Oh, Bryce Young is pro. Bryce Young was leading that team. He was pro ready last year.
Yeah, he
was pro ready a year before. You hear all the calls that he makes at the line of scrimmage. Like you hear him actually making those calls, and he.
But the question is he too small for the NFL?
That's
the question.
That is a question. That is a big question
for the NFL. I'm saying because look at Kyler Murray. Look at these small. There's only very few small quarterbacks that Russell Wilson is one of them.
But he's a big guy though. He's big and small.
But he's not 6'3". He's not 6'4".
I mean, mass wise, he got some weight on him.
He's got some size, but he's still a short quarterback.
Yeah.
I'm saying, and that's one of the things that they want to put 6'7" linemen in front of him.
True.
You talking about 6'5", 6'6", 6'7" linemen, and you're 6 feet barely. Come on, it's.
Well, I mean, you had those. The thing about Bryce Young is you had those guys. You had Alabama linemen in front of you, which all the Alabama linemen are all NFL draft prospects. They're all NFL prospects, so it's not like he hasn't played with that in front of him his entire for his entire college career. So they were able to get around that. Bryce Young is a guy that I I've said this before. Bryce Young is the first quarter. He'll be the first quarterback taken, and depending on what the Bears do, depending on whether the Bears trade out, and
I think they're going to trade out. I think they
are. I think they're going to dangle. They're going to dangle that Bryce Young. Everybody knows the Texans are taking Bryce Young if he's there, so they're going to go out and say, "Hey, if you want Bryce Young, you better trade up."
Yeah, Carolina, you want him? Come get him, because I feel that they don't think any of those two are going to be better than Justin Fields. That's what they're thinking is. Like, he had a great year. As far as running the ball, maybe they need to find out.
Well, the thinking in Chicago, which we've said ever since Chicago secured the #1 pick, is it doesn't matter if you draft a quarterback. If you draft a quarterback and you have no linemen to block for him, you're not going to do – quarterback's going to do well. So you need to build the offensive line, and this is the year to do that. The problem is – and Rod, I was doing my research for the offensive line. The big problem is all the talent is on the interior of the line, you're going to hear people talk about all the time. Oh, you don't draft a guard at #1. You don't draft a center. Screw that. If you're the Bears, you get the best offensive lineman you can get. It doesn't matter who they are, where they play. You need all 5 positions.
That's why you trade down.
In the draft.
That's why you trade down and get multiple picks. Trade down, get multiple picks. That's what you have. You have to build this team. You have to build a team. So if you can get enough picks for that number 1, say you get.
What they have to do is get a nice haul of draft picks,
yeah,
but not fall too far, not fall too far down. That's why you said Carolina. Carolina's a good option because
they want like
a nice haul of picks and you don't fall too far down the line.
Where is Carolina in the stand? Is it like 5th or 6th or something like that? Where are they?
Carolina, it has and I have it written down here, so just gotta look it up.
But Deets, you are telling the truth about linemen. Look at Belichick. We got Cole Strange at the 29th pick in the first round. People was yelling at him. Why would you do that? Cole Strange had a good year last year.
Yeah, you have Carolina's picking 9th.
Oh man.
So it's not too bad of a draft. The teams I would be looking at would be, first off, how interested is Atlanta in Desmond? Are they sold on Desmond Ridder being their starting quarterback going forward? Do they want to trade up because they're 1 pick ahead of Carolina? You got the Raiders in there. Who knows what the Raiders are going to do?
What number are the Raiders picking at?
They're at 7, right above the Falcons.
Who's picking 6?
The Lions are the 6th pick because they got it from the Rams.
And
the Lions aren't picking quarterback.
No, because
Seattle's got Denver's pick. They could go quarterback, but I don't think Seattle would trade up.
I think they believe in Geno right now.
Yeah, I think they exactly. The key spot I think for the Bears would be the Colts, and the Colts are picking at 4.
They could trade down to the Colts if they want. If they really want Bryce, if the Colts really want Bryce Young, they can trade down with the Colts, still be in the 4th pick, and still pick a solid.
Yeah, that's where I think the trade market's going to be. Is do we just swap with the Colts, get an extra pick, or do we go all the way down with Carolina and get a haul of picks? But then we fall down to 9, and you never know what happens in between there.
You might still be able to find your lineman at 9.
You'll still get guys. I mean, I just did the draft book.
You just won't get.
You won't have your choice of it. You'll get whoever falls to you.
Yeah.
Who do you feel like is the most polished offensive lineman coming out this year, Deets? Offensive tackles and guards, centers, don't matter. What do you feel like is the most polished?
To me, it's the center. I can't even pronounce his name, so I just call him the center from Michigan. Olagami, whatever. I can't even pronounce his name, but the center from Michigan is the best blocker in this draft. He's the best blocker in this draft. He's coming off. He got the best lineman, best offensive and defensive lineman, best lineman in the country award last year. You saw what Michigan did when they were running the football. Michigan could run the football on anybody.
What is his measurables?
His measurables, and I actually have them written down here. I have them right at the top of the book. But he's 6'3", 310.
Ooh, that's a big boy.
And a center, and you get a center. I mean, I know people are going to say, "Oh, you need a left tackle. You need a left tackle." Go look at how good Philadelphia is right now. Why is Philadelphia so good? Because they have Jason Kelce at center.
Mm-hmm.
And Jason Kelce is one of the best linemen in the league. If you have a chance to get a guy like that, go out and get him, because you're looking at offensive tackle. Paris Jackson is probably the top offensive tackle on the board.
Mm-hmm.
He's a project. He's a project guy. So if you're the Bears,
why is he a project guy? Why is he a project guy?
He's still learning the offensive tackle position. He's still a guy. He's a guy that is immensely talented, but doesn't have, he's a redshirt junior. Only played 2 years of college football. So he still has a lot of growth potential. But if you're the Bears, you can't bank on growth potential. You need a guy who's going to come in and be there right away. You don't have the opportunity because we saw what happened with that team. That team is nothing without Justin Fields. You have to protect him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Because
the worst thing, because if they do trade back, they could get Peter Skoranek, which is offensive tackle at Northwestern, Chicago guy. So Chicago, it makes sense to trade back.
Okay. Who's your top 3 receivers on your board right now? Because Wise was talking about receivers. Who's your top 3 polished receivers, route running and catching?
Top 3 wide receivers on my board. And again, we got the combine coming up combine starts on Thursday, which is always a fun thing to watch. The main thing for all of these guys is pass the physical. Pass the physical at the combine. Whether you do the actual workouts or not, it really doesn't matter. It really makes no difference. You're gonna hear a lot. You're gonna hear a lot about this guy's throwing at the combine. This guy's doing this. This guy's doing that. As long as they go and pass the physical, that means you won the combine if you pass the physical. But top wide receiver on my board is the Biletnikoff winner from 2 years ago, Jordan Addison.
Mm-hmm.
There's no question about it. What he did at USC, he was, and the reason I say the medical, he was injured a lot at USC this year, and freak injuries, not like hamstring pulls or anything. Like he was getting hit low, Things happen with his knee. So as long as all of that is intact, he should be up there at the top. I love Quentin Johnson from TCU, 6'5" guy, big bodied wide receiver. I love what he can do. And we talked about, Max Duggan doing everything. Well, when Max Duggan needed to play, he went to Quentin Johnson. So those are the 2 guys that I would look at there. And then you've got a lot of, Jackson and Jigba Smith, another work in progress with Ohio State. You say a lot of these about Ohio State guys. They're works in progress because we just haven't seen enough out of them.
Where do you see Marvin falling to? Marvin's coming out, right? Marvin Jr. coming out, right?
I think he stayed.
He stayed for another year?
Yeah, he stayed. He's not coming out. And I think he's only a sophomore.
Okay.
So he's not eligible till next year. And
D, how do you feel about Tank Dell?
the
Houston, 5'8" receiver.
Gonna be a tough road for him because he's small.
But you see Cole Beasley, he made a living in that slot.
He did, but when you look at where he's going to get drafted, when you talk about his draft stock, he's really small. He's going to have to do something at the combine that blows people away,
like a 4.1,
run like a sub 4.2, a 4.21 40. He'll have to do that kind of stuff. He'll have to show. In the wiggle drills, he'll have to show that he can run certain routes. That the biggest thing for him is going to be getting off coverage, because when you're that small, that's what you need to do. You need to be able to get off coverage because guys get their hands on you when you're that small and you're done. So it's going to be that start-stop speed that he has. But yeah, I see him as probably a third rounder. Top of the 3rd round at best, as far as teams taking a chance on him.
What about like Xavier Smith out of FAMU? Had a good game at against North Carolina. Had 78 yards with 8 receptions. You gotta that's what the scouts look at. Can you do against D1 FBS talent? And he had a good little game.
That's as far as you have to be able to separate yourself
Mm-hmm.
from these other guys, because all these other guys have all the tape on them, tape against top level prospects, tape against guys who are NFL ready. He's going to have to separate himself. I could see a team taking a chance in the second round, but most likely high level third round pick.
Okay. Hey, Wise, do you see any receivers you like coming out of college you would like to see your Giants get?
Honestly, I haven't really been paying attention to the receivers. I haven't really paid attention to college football like that this past season, so I couldn't really tell you what receivers is out there. But we definitely need to go. If there's someone out there that falls to, I feel that Coach Dable and Joe Shane know what they want to do with this franchise. They're heading in the right direction. If they can find us a receiver in the draft, that would be great. Or if they can go out and I love Odell, but I'd rather go after DeAndre Hopkins personally.
Mm-hmm.
Odell's coming from a major injury.
I think he's going to be ready next year, though. I think he needed that whole year to sit out. I think he's still got another 2 seasons out of him.
I think he's
that's a freak injury. How his leg just came out on.
It might be better a second time around now, the second time in New York, because he knows what to expect. But I just feel we just need that receiver to help us take it to the next level.
I think because there are so many veteran guys out there that you could take. If I'm the Giants, where they're at in the draft, because they're going to be low, they're going to be in the 20s when they pick. I'm looking at a guy like Jack Campbell, inside linebacker at Iowa. I'd be looking for that middle linebacker to secure my defense if I'm the Giants. And look, because you could get veteran wide receivers, you could sign a veteran wide receiver, or you know the wide receiver class is so deep, you could get a guy like an A.T. Perry in the second round. I've been talking about this guy. I mean, he could be a sleeper first round pick, or he could easily fall to a second round. That guy's 6'5". 6'5" at wide receiver. That's the kind of thing that the Giants need. They need that Plaxico Burress type. That's just a big dude.
What about Bobby Wagner for 1 year deal? What do you think about that, Wise? Because they just finally took a buyout.
From what I'm hearing is the Jets are looking at him.
Mm-hmm.
They have a great defense, and if they add Bobby Wagner, that'll just make them even better. But the Giants, they need that middle linebacker, man. They need that middle linebacker to really shore up that defense, because we have the 2 monsters in the front with Leonard and my man Dexter Lawrence, and then Kayvon Thibodeau started picking it up towards the end of the year, and then again we got Azeez Ojulari. But we do need some linebacker help.
I like a one middle linebacker, Deets. I don't know what you think about that, Aubrey Miller. I think he could be a project, but he can play a little special teams for the time being. He can give you depth. What you think about that, Aubrey Miller, as like a fifth to sixth round pick?
Oh yeah, he's a guy that you take a gamble on. He's a gamble kind of guy, because and that's like you said, special teams is where he's gonna earn his spot on the team. At least for the first go around, he's gonna have to earn his spot on the defense, which probably won't come till either late in the season or next year. But he's a definite special teams guy. He's definitely a guy you want to have on your roster as a guy. All right, our main guy goes down, we got a guy who can fill in. Breaking in there. He'll definitely be a day 3 pick.
Also, I like Isaiah Land too out of FAMU, man. I think he's a tweener. He's more like James Houston, where he's a tweener linebacker / edge rusher. Like he put his hand in the dirt a little bit. I like him. I like
a lot of those
FAMU.
a lot of those FAMU, a lot of those Florida A&M guys. A lot of them shined at the college all-star games and in the practices. Those guys really stepped up, and it shows how good that program is down there. They have a good program to getting guys to the NFL. So I think a lot of those guys are going to go second day. You're going to see them late. They're not going to be guys who are walking across the stage, but you're going to see them picked, and you're going to see them play big roles with teams in the NFL.
And I don't think he got enough praise either. Dorian Williams out of Tulane. Tulane had a good sneaky team.
Hey, Deets, is there a receiver that you really think is going to be really good, but not a lot of people talking about him?
I just mentioned A.T. Perry from Wake Forest. Him and Sam Hartman, they had a great connection. You saw what they could do. And if this guy can do anything at the combine, like I said, 6'5", 206, if he can run anywhere in the 4.2, if he runs a 4.25 40, his stock will go through the roof. But right now, even him, he's slated at sixth or seventh wide receiver off the board.
So,
I got him. I would take him in the first round.
Would you say Quentin Johnson is the number one?
Quentin Johnson's number two on my list. I got Jordan Addison. I love Jordan Addison. And to see what he did, what Jordan Addison did at Pittsburgh was phenomenal when he was with Pickett. And then when he transferring over, you were like, all right, what is this guy going to do? Well, he was the leading pass catcher at USC last year. So I like I said, as long as he passes the physical, Jordan Addison should be a guy he's at the top of my list as far as wide receivers go. So I've got Addison, I've got Quentin Johnson, guys who are far down the board. Zay Flowers at Boston College. Boston College had a terrible year last year. Not any fault of Zay Flowers. He'll be a guy that will fall to a second, probably maybe a late second round pick. He's a good guy to pick up.
What about Rashee Rice from SMU?
Problem with, and again, I'm looking at his stats, just not his stats, but his 6'1", 206. Again, this is a guy he's going to have to show that he can run. He's going to have to show his running ability. If he gets sub 2.5, that'll put him in the running. But if he's 4.3, then everybody's going to go back and look at some of his tape.
What about?
I think he's got a lot to do to get to a first round. If you get him in the third round, that's a steal.
What about Hyatt from Tennessee?
Hyatt from Tennessee
is going to be gone.
Number 5 on my list. When you catch 5 touchdowns against a Nick Saban defense, you're legit. You're a legit talent. That's a good. So I think he'll be known. I think he'll be the third. I think he has the potential to be the third wide receiver off the board.
Hey, Wise, but I have a feeling that is a great value. D-Hop. I think he'd be perfect for y'all. Shaq Davis. He's 6'5", 220. He runs like a gazelle. Got that boom boom pop.
What about the kid from Ohio State, Jackson?
Jackson and Jimbo, like I said, he's a project. He was hurt a lot last year. He's still young at the wide receiver position. What's key for me with Jackson and Jigba is, can he get off the line of scrimmage? Mm-hmm. And it's not about his straight ahead speed. It's about his start-stop speed, because we saw him get shut down a little bit as far as when people get hands on him, he kind of fades away. And in the NFL, they're going to get hands on you in the first 5 yards. So you got to be able to stop your momentum and pick it up again. That's the key that I would look at for Jackson and Jigba. But I have him as a fifth wide receiver. I have him fifth. I have him right behind Jalen Hyatt.
What about the kid from North Carolina, Josh Downs?
Josh Downs, again, guy who's a traveler. He's traveled a lot over his career. Was great when he was working with Sam Howell. Is one of the reasons why North Carolina's passing game was absolutely unstoppable last year. But as far as the NFL is concerned, I see him as a high second. I think he'll be probably sixth or seventh wide receiver taken off the board.
Where do you see Mayer fall into, Deets?
Who?
Mayer.
Oh, Michael Mayer's. I said Michael Mayer's the first tight end off the board.
First off the board?
For that guy, I've watched every Notre Dame game played. This guy is a beast. He's athletic. He can go up and get the ball. And the one thing he can do, he can block. He can block. He can get on people, and he can do that where he can block somebody and get out in a route because he has that start-stop ability.
So he got that.
But you can line him up. You can line him up wide on a corner. What corner is going to stop him? 6'5", 250. What corner? You just throw him the ball, he's going to run somebody over.
Nathaniel Dell, what do you think of him?
That was the guy we were talking about before. The guy out of Houston. Yeah. That's like I said, 5'10". That's going to be.
That's the problem. Yeah, that's his size, and
like I said, his size is going to be a problem as far as his draft stock. People are going to look at him, and everybody knows immediately if you're not 6 feet tall, immediately you're knocked down a peg in a lot of these drafts, in a lot of draft stock. He's really got to show either sub 4.2 speed, or he's got to show in the route running that he can stop. And if he does that, he could easily be a second round pick. Otherwise, I see him being a third day. He's going to be more of a special teams guy in the NFL than he is going to be anything else right out of the gate.
One last name, Rome Odunze.
Rome Odunze, huh?
Washington.
I'll put a star next to that name. This is the first I'm hearing of the name. So, what position does he play?
He plays wide receiver. He
plays wide receiver.
He does for Washington.
Okay, so
he was a redshirt sophomore.
Yeah, I'll have
6'3", 201 pounds. Big kid. It looks like he's gonna. He had a good rapport with the quarterback out there in Washington. It looks like he had a pretty solid season, so he's looking like he's one of. I'm looking at him right now. 6'3", 200. I'll have to look. I'll have to look at some of his game tape because I don't know. I didn't get to watch a lot of, being on the East Coast. We don't get to watch a lot of Washington. Yeah, that's true. That is true.
We don't get to watch a lot of Washington, and since they weren't good last year, they weren't on a lot of our TVs. So,
what about DJ Turner out of Michigan, Dees?
Yeah, I think he'll be a special teams guy.
Special team?
I think he'll be a special teams guy in the NFL, at least at the start of his career, which will put him down a little bit. It'll put him down probably third to fifth round, somewhere in there. Somebody will take a chance on him, get him acclimated with special teams, and see if they can work him in.
You know another one, Deets. I think he would be a good slot corner in the league. Isaiah Bolden. He's a good special teamer, good kick returner, good punt returner.
Isaiah Bolden is a very, very
came out of Florida State and transferred to Jackson State. Is a bigger corner. That's where the league is going to. Bigger corner.
He'll be a very good slot position corner. He's not going to be your Sauce Gardner. He's not going to be your Sauce Gardner. Line him up on the outside, but he'll be a nickel kind of guy where he can play as that third corner, and he, like you said, he's a bigger guy. He can stay in. He definitely can stay in and stop the run, which is what you need from your third corner.
And you know what I mean? And another one, you know what I mean? You know, I watch a lot of FCS. Dejon Warren, I think he could, if I'll take a flyer at 7th round or like undrafted free agent, rookie free agent, 6'2", ran a 4.3 at the HBCU combine. That's a good little speed for a corner, 4.3.
So, Deeds, is Mayer your number one tight end?
Mayer is my number one tight end.
Who do you got behind him?
Behind him at tight end, I have, and this is a little bit of a project, but I love Darnell Washington at Georgia. And if you saw the championship game, everybody knows, everything went to Brock. Everything went to Brock Bowers because Brock Bowers is the best player in college football.
Mm-hmm.
But Darnell Washington, a tight end, just listen to these statistics: 6'7", 265. That will get you in. That will get you in the door for a meeting with teams. That right there will get you in. And the way that he did catch a touchdown in the national championship game. I mean, who didn't catch a touchdown in the national championship game for Georgia? No, he did catch a touchdown, and so if he can show that he has the hands, I would. He's a beast.
What do you rank? What do you rank? Dalton Kincaid.
Dalton Kincaid. I got him third. I got him third on my list because I loved watching him play. And he was just all over that. We're speaking of guys who I loved watching play, and you were talking about sleepers at wide receiver. Charlie Jones out of Purdue led the Big Ten in receptions last year with 110.
Damn,
he's a guy, slot guy, very wisely coming from an offense that is very NFL ready. Charlie Jones could be a guy that sneaks around. So watch that name because a lot of people won't focus on him. But
is the running back from Illinois coming out this year?
I don't think. No, he's not.
He was a sophomore. Was he a sophomore last year?
He stayed actually. He stayed actually. He'll be a junior next year.
Oh, junior. What about Mike Morris out of Michigan, the 6'6" Roger? He's an edge rusher / linebacker.
A lot of those Michigan guys, the linemen are projects.
Defense.
And when I say that, you look at Michigan, what they've been for the last 2 years. Aiden Hutchinson, they had Hutchinson and they had 2 defensive ends go in the first round 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. In last year's draft, they had two guys that were there. So a lot of these Michigan linemen didn't get a lot of run, so they don't have a lot. They don't have a lot there, so they're projects. But you can definitely build off, and Morris is one of those guys.
Who do you have as your top defensive interior lineman?
Interior lineman?
Yeah.
Macy Smith from Michigan. And Jalen Carter at Georgia. Jalen Carter at Georgia.
Where you got him right there? So you got them 1A and 1B?
1A and 1B. And the reason Macy Smith, I mean, Jalen Carter is an athletic guy. He's 6'3", 310, but he runs like a linebacker. This guy, he's amazing. The reason I got Macy Smith is 6'5", 330. You're not moving him. You're not moving him. If he doesn't want to move, you're not going to move him. So that's what I look for in a defensive tackle, is a guy who could suck up 2 blocks. Well, that's Macy Smith right there.
What do you think of the kid from Pittsburgh, Cansey?
I think of him more of. I think of him. I don't think he'll be on the interior. I think he's more of a hybrid guy.
You think he'll be more of an edge rusher type guy?
I think he'll be not necessarily an edge rusher. I think he'll be an other side. I think he'll be a strong side defensive end. I think what they call him I think they call him a 7 technique. As far as an end goes, that's where I think he would best fit, because I think he's too small to be inside to be double teamed by a guard and a center, but him going one-on-one with a tackle, I think he could win that battle every day. But I mean, edge rusher, it's Will Anderson and then the rest, because Will Anderson is absolutely the most outstanding player in this draft.
Alabama.
Out of Alabama, he's been the most outstanding player on Alabama's defense for 3 years straight. So,
and who do you got? Who do you got him? Who do you have after him?
After him, as far as the edge goes, I've got I got 2 guys, and it depends on where they. It depends on where they plan on putting Brian Bresee. Brian Bresee is a guy. He could play edge. He could play inside. He could play all 3 defensive lineman positions, which is something I love to have. I love a versatile guy like that. So Brian Bresee is a really good guy, and the other guy is Zach Harrison out of Ohio State. Very good edge rusher, and we know what Ohio State has. Ohio State just cranks out pass rushers. And you can go back to Chase Young. You go back to Chase Young. You go back a long way through Ohio State. And Zach Harrison is one of the better ones out of them.
How do you feel about this? Is what I like to see, man. Blake Corum with Walker at Seattle. 2-headed monster. How would you like that, Deej?
I would love to see. I would love to see Blake Corum go to. So I mean, Blake Corum is the most versatile back in this draft. I mean, we're talking running backs. We already know that running backs are not going to get taken off the board till the 2nd round. So
yeah, we didn't see the first running back taken last year was Breece Hall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Breece Hall taken in the 2nd round.
And I thought that was a steal for the Jets.
Oh yeah.
And those kind of guys are going to go. Bijan Robinson. Blake Corum has to go to a team that doesn't use a conventional running back. That Blake Corum is going to be your versatile guy that you can line up at running back. You can throw the ball to him. You can line him up in the slot. You motion him through. He's not going to be your guy that you line up and pound the rock with him. And you can even go back. You can watch his tape in Michigan. He's not that guy. He's the guy that you're going to hit him on quick hitters. Try to get him on the outside. And if he's one-on-one with somebody, he's gone.
So do you think Bijan is going to be the first one off the board?
I think Bijan will be the first running back taken, the first true running back taken. But it all depends on, the team that he goes to. He has to go to a team that is a downhill running team or that needs a downhill runner. Any of these teams like
and what do you think about Jahmyr Gibbs?
Jahmyr Gibbs from Alabama. Anybody wants to know about Jahmyr Gibbs, just go watch the Iron Bowl. We'll watch the Iron Bowl where he ran for like 200 yards. This guy, again, he's kind of a hybrid guy. He's my 2nd guy as far as a downhill runner. If he shows that he can catch, the sky's the limit for Jahmyr Gibbs. But I think he'll be the 2nd running back taken. So when you're talking 2nd running back, you're talking
probably third,
middle of the 2nd round to early 3rd round. Just because they devalued the running back so much.
Yeah, no, they've definitely devalued the running back.
And if you're looking for a sleeper guy, Zach Charbonnet out of UCLA.
I was about to ask you
Oh
about him.
man.
I was about to ask you about him.
I mean, you talk about a guy played at Michigan under Jim Harbaugh, goes to UCLA, played under Chip Kelly. If he's not ready for the NFL, I don't know. I don't know who else can get guys ready for the NFL when he's played for those two head coaches. So
DRT's playing another year, or he's coming out? Robinson, the quarterback.
Yeah, he's not on my list. I believe
so he must have been his only.
I believe yeah. I didn't see him on anybody's list, so I believe he's opted. He's taking that COVID option.
Okay, so all these quarterbacks you see coming out this year, do you see some of them fall into the XFL or USFL? Because it's not all these the jobs open in the NFL.
It's definitely there's definitely a lot of that possibility, and one of the guys that has potential to do that is Phil Jurkovec from Boston College, where this was a guy people thought would be a first round pick, and last year he was just awful, and may have destroyed his entire draft stock. He may have to go to the XFL or the USFL to prove himself back into NFL caliber. So I'd look at him as one of the guys. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Tua 2.0.
That's exactly what I was thinking about. I was also thinking about Richardson.
Anthony Richardson's young enough and has enough starts in him to where I think an NFL team will take a flyer on him.
What team would you like to see take a flyer on him?
What team? Well, where he would fit best would be
Baltimore. Yeah,
anywhere where he can bet. I mean, he's basically a lesser version of Lamar Jackson. I mean, it would fit perfectly with that. I mean, he is a very big project throwing the football, but there's no better runner.
Okay, so he's a quarterback that isn't really mentioned at all. Is a two-time champion, the last two repeating champions, same from Georgia. Bennett gets
Stetson Bennett. You look at him, you look at his arm strength, and you look at his accuracy with the football. Those are my two biggest questions. Especially at the NFL level, you have to be able to. You have to have one of those. You either have to be deadly accurate, like I compare him to Chad Pennington. And Chad Pennington did not have a strong.
He didn't have arm, but he was
not have a strong arm at all.
He was accurate as hell.
So accurate with the football. Yeah. Chad Pennington was so accurate with the football that he didn't have to have that strong arm. That's kind of what Stetson Bennett needs to show, is that he can be that accurate, because he doesn't have a strong arm at all.
I call him the great value Josh Allen. That's what I call him. When he runs the ball and take off. He look like that to me on film-wise. He look like Josh Allen.
Yeah, but Josh Allen, the difference is Josh Allen has a rocket for an arm.
But he was not polished when he came in the league.
No, he wasn't, but he still had that cannon.
But he still could throw the ball 60. He still could throw the ball 65 yards, and it would be on a rope. Rope, 65 yards.
Not many people got Josh Allen's arm.
Yeah,
I'm not saying the arm wise. I'm saying that as he got that sneaky speed though.
Okay, but it's.
But again, you have to have one. You have to have one of those. You have to have one or the other. In Josh Allen's case, Josh Allen had the rocket arm.
Yeah.
We didn't see the accuracy numbers. Now we're starting to see that go. You have to have one or the other, and Stetson Bennett doesn't have either. He has to prove his accuracy right now, because watching him on film, he doesn't have the accuracy that I would like to see from a guy who doesn't have a strong arm, because he can't push the ball down the field.
Since we talk about Max, I would like to see Max go either Seattle or Green Bay? What's your thoughts about that?
Depends on who the starting quarterback is in Green Bay.
I don't think Jordan Love got a chance to
No,
start after
what
Aaron
I'm what
Rodgers.
I'm saying is if Aaron Rodgers is still the
there.
starting quarterback, I would
Oh.
hate to see Max Duggan go there because I want Max Duggan to go somewhere where the starting quarterback is going to groom him along and not push him aside because we know what Aaron Rodgers is. Aaron Rodgers ain't teaching anybody.
Yeah, it's not too many places like that. We got the Raiders.
No, Max Duggan. Well, if you're drafting Max Duggan to be your starting quarterback next year, you have way bigger problems than what you got. Max Duggan. If you're drafting Max Duggan, you're drafting him.
Oh, the Bucks. The Bucks.
Your
The Bucks
guy,
got opening.
like 30. You're drafting him to be a guy maybe at the end of the year or going in. The same way the Falcons did with Desmond Ridder.
Yeah.
Where they drafted Desmond Ridder and they went with Marcus Mariota, and then they said, "All right, well, let's go with Ridder now." That's where you're drafting Max Duggan. You're not Max Duggan is not getting QB1 on the first day he walks in the door.
What do you see
He's
the Bucks
gotta
doing?
learn
Diggs?
a lot about how to play the quarterback position.
Deets and Wise, what do you see the Bucks doing at the QB position? You think they get a veteran? You got to go with a veteran, or you get somebody young and just build it out?
I think they go. I think they have to go with a veteran.
Yeah,
I think they can draft. I think they can. I think where they're drafting, they draft a guy,
But
and they
right
go
now,
with a veteran. I think both.
right now, go for a veteran because you have a veteran squad. You have a team that's a veterans team that's won a championship. So now you draft your future quarterback, bring in that veteran to, like Deed says, that show him the ropes to really be there as a placeholder for this quarterback to come in and learn under him and learn to be a professional. Because sometimes that's where a lot of the issues are, is they're not shown how to truly be professionals.
Mm-hmm.
So Aaron Rodgers, he had the benefit of learning under Brett Favre. You would think that being under Brett Favre and learning under Brett Favre, that once you get to a certain age, you would think Aaron Rodgers would be like, oh, my time is almost up. Let me show the next person. And that's the problem. That's the problem with him, is he's a selfish player.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying he is all about him. It's not about the team. It's all about him. So in a situation like that, I don't know. I don't know if I would want to draft a quarterback especially if he's going to stay in Green Bay. I don't think I would want to draft a quarterback to learn on them because he's not willing to.
He's talking about trying to force the hand and getting out there. He said he wants to go to the Raiders. He's been name dropping teams
because he wants to go to, because he's realizing he's nothing without Devontae Adams. Right
Yeah, he wants to play with Devontae Adams again. Of course, who wouldn't want to go? Who wouldn't want to go to the Raiders right now and be a starting quarterback? Look at that receiving core.
You got Josh Jacobs at running back. You have the tight end. You have
the two tight ends. You have Morrow. Yeah. You have Morrow and
Waller, and you got Devontae Adams. It's like you have a ready-made offense ready for you. Who wouldn't want to go?
And you got Josh McDaniels calling the plays. That's an offensive ready team. The problem is that team has no their defense is going to get thrashed.
Yeah.
But you mentioned Tampa Bay. I mean, Tampa Bay is the perfect spot. Go out, get Derek Carr, because you need a guy who can win now.
Derek Carr is going to the Jets. I see him going to the Jets.
I can see the Jets. I've said that any team that needs a veteran quarterback,
that's the perfect
Derek Carr is going to be the first name.
I think that's a perfect fit for the Jets because you have some great talent on offense. You have a defense that's one of the best defenses in the league. Had they had an offense, they might have won more games. So
all they got to do is score 27 points and let the defense work. That's all you got to do.
And listen, the Jets lost 9-6 to your team.
They lost to the Patriots on a punt return.
Like,
not even 9-6. They lost on a punt return.
Like, are you kidding me?
Thank you, Houston. Thank you, Cougar. My Cougar, Marcus Jones. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Had they had any semblance of an offense, the Jets would be really good. But that's just that quarterback play from every quarterback that they put in. Even though Mike White had an all right couple of games, but he's not the answer. He is not. He is meant to be a backup.
And like you say, they have so much windows for these rookie deal contracts. Garrett Wilson, if you don't want to give him the bag, somebody's gonna give him the bag.
Oh, listen, you know what I mean? Had Brees now got hurt, you would have had two of the top offensive rookies in the league, right? Mm-hmm. Then you got the defensive rookie of the year and Sauce Gardner, who shows everybody that he is the truth at what he can do at that cornerback position. You put him on whatever number one receiver is, he's gonna do his job. It's that offense though. Your defense, you're putting your defense in a predicament where they have to try to stop every play.
Mm-hmm. But see, this is where it comes down to, like, it comes down to what does Derek Carr want to do? Because if you're Derek Carr, do you want to go to the AFC East and play against the Bills, Dolphins, and Patriots?
Oh yeah, say my team beats.
6 games. Do you want to play against?
Ain't nobody care about your team, Reed.
I was saving the Patriots for last because
we're making a playoff bet. I'm saying this right now.
Defense, or do you want to go to Tampa Bay, who despite their record, won their division last year, and you get to play against the Saints, Falcons, and Panthers defense? I mean, that's what it's going to come down to. And if you're Derek Carr, I mean, I know it's hard. I know it's going to be hard, but you know, the thing they're going to talk about in Tampa Bay all the time is, this is the guy that replaced Tom Brady. That's the issue with signing with Tampa Bay. Otherwise, but if you're not afraid of that, then Tampa Bay is the much better signing. Because you've got Evans, you've got all those receivers coming back off injury.
But you still got to go. It still goes through Philly and San Fran. I'm saying, so it's not that much of an easier task in the NFC. You still got some great teams in the NFC.
No, but that's in the playoffs.
You talking about making it in the playoffs? Yeah,
I'm talking about just playing the regular season.
Anybody can win the South in the NFC South. Anybody can win the NFC South. It's open. Listen, the Panthers were in it to the very end, and the Panthers sucked.
Mm-hmm.
What does that tell you about the NFC South? So yeah,
just like the AFC South is struggling with streak.
You're gonna start putting some respect on that Jacksonville name.
They're gonna take that division again. You're
gonna put some respect on that Jacksonville Jaguars.
The Titans are done. The Titans are done because they're wasting on that.
They have that Jacksonville Jaguars team is gonna be a handful in the next couple of years. Add a few more pieces to that team. They're gonna be really good because they have a really good head coach.
Hey, Waz, I gotta apologize to Christian Kirk on this podcast. I apologize.
He had a really good year.
Oh my God! I thought it was Brooklyn streets with no salt down. How he had people tripping up, man.
Yeah, he had a really good year, man. People were kind of bashing them when they signed him.
Zay Jones was killing it too.
That's what I was gonna say. Zay Jones was the standout from this year was that Zay Jones, and now they have a nice 1-2 punch to go with Travis Etienne running the football, to go with Trevor Lawrence at quarterback. So they're on the right road. Jacksonville's on the right road.
They're missing some pieces to complete.
We've seen this before with Jacksonville, though. We've seen them have where we thought, they made the AFC Championship game. They're going to have breakout years, and then all of a sudden, the next year they fall apart. So they've got to show us.
We've seen it. We've seen it when they had Mark Brunell. They had Jimmy Smith. They had
Jimmy Smith should be in Hall of Fame too. Jimmy Smith should be in Hall of Fame.
Listen, you had that 90s, that late 90s Jaguars team was something. There was some
Freddie T.
Good, man.
But
real good team.
and you bring up that late '90s team. Who was
Coughlin.
running that late '90s
Tom
team? Tom
Coughlin.
Coughlin.
Yeah,
Who's
Tom
running
Coughlin.
the team now? Tom Coughlin.
So he's bringing it back to So I'm saying he's bringing it back to what he knows.
But we've also seen what I was mentioning is we've also seen Blake Bortles lead the Jaguars to an AFC championship. They were a pass interference that should have been called that didn't get called. They were that away from beating the Patriots in the AFC championship game.
Come on, Deez. Don't bring up old stuff, Deez. Come on, man.
I'm bringing up Blake. They got that far, and everybody said the exact same thing that they're saying now. Oh, the Jaguars are ready to take over, and then Blake Bortles went back to being Blake Bortles, and the Jaguars.
But that's the difference. I don't think.
And the Jaguars went in the tank.
I don't see Trevor Lawrence regressing. I don't see him going back.
That's why I say we've got to see a consistent. I mean. He had his second year. I've got to see it. I got to see that. I got to see.
That's how I feel about Daniel Jones. That's how I feel about Daniel Jones. I have to see it again before you give him any. Listen, franchise him. Sign Saquon to an extension. Right? I would sign Saquon to an extension. Get Saquon signed. Tag Daniel Jones. Have him play on that franchise tag. He shows we get him the receivers or the weapons that he needed. He shows us he's more than a 15 passing TD. And even though he had a great year running, set a Giants record for rushing yards for a QB and touchdowns. He was phenomenal. He needs to show me he can pass the rock now.
A Giants record for quarterback running the football.
Yes, let me correct.
Just think about that for a second. This is a team that had Phil Simms, a guy who couldn't move.
Hostetler could run. Hostetler could run.
But Hostetler got out of Dodge as soon as he was started winning. It was like, nah, I'm going to the Raiders and the Redskins.
We know Eli wasn't the most mobile.
Eli couldn't move at all. Kurt Warner couldn't move at all. These are the guys who are the Giants quarterbacks. Like, most rushing yards as a Giant quarterback, that wasn't that big of a hurdle.
But no, it just goes to show you how athletic he is.
He's light skinned to me. He's
athletic.
He's light skinned when he runs. Boy, that boy.
He trips over himself. Listen, all right, he trips over himself on the occasion. That happens.
But I'm saying this right now, decent wise. I got my team making the playoffs next year, man. We just need to pick up a couple more receivers up, fix that lineup. I got another running back. I feel like we're making the playoffs next year.
I feel like we're missing. You know, Rod, we're missing it on the show. You didn't even give a heartfelt goodbye to your guy.
Who?
Devin McCourty. Who's going to replace McCourty on the back end?
Hold up. There's been reports we're going to throw the bag at Jordan Poyer, Buffalo. Be mean with us. You put him back in that secondary, he's a thumper. Give me that. There's reports we're going to.
That's what I'm saying. They have to replace Devin McCourty before we even.
I'm glad we bring one captain back though, Matthew Slater. You know he's my Don Beebe. He's my Steve Tasker. He's all that for me in New England, man. When it comes to special teams, I think he need to have a special wing. Him, Devin Hester. Did he have a special wings for special team players for them guys? Because they changed the game.
Matthew Slater got a guy who made the Pro Bowl for like 10 years straight. And nobody talks about him.
That's
crazy. He made it as a special teamer.
But I a couple of people I wouldn't mind them letting go out. You know what I mean? Jacoby Myers.
I'm saying
that is crazy. I don't want to get him.
Before we even slate where the Patriots are going to be next year, they need to. That's a lot. That's a lot to replace on the back end. You're talking Devin McCourty, a guy who has been the rock for that defense.
Yeah.
You can say, "Oh, we're going to replace him with this guy." You're replacing more than a guy. You're replacing a guy who knew. It was basically Bill Belichick on the field.
Yeah, it's sometimes you know how when you replace a player,
a leader,
we're going to replace him with this guy. But what you're not replacing him is the intangibles. Yeah, he might be a thumper, but he might not do what McCourty does in the locker room.
But there's, McCourty's the guy, and he's the guy at safety. He was the guy who was like, all right, yo, tell this guy to line up. This guy's not lined up right. We got to get in the right situations. You replace him with a guy.
He was that coach on the field. He's the coach on that field. Yeah, he does the intangible things that other players that don't do.
Likewise, our biggest problem is we haven't had a steady middle linebacker since Dante Hightower, and that's the biggest problem last year. That middle linebacker play,
and that's and that's always something that Patriots have always had. They've
always had some
great linebackers. Willie, Teddy, you know what I'm saying? Hightower. They've always had that linebacker to lead them, and that's something they've been missing on that defense is that key linebacker to lead that defense.
You know what I mean? Because Josh Uche, he had a big year last year, but he's a tweener. He's like, you know what I mean? He's a tweener for me. You know what I mean? I like the stuff we did have this year with Jack Jones. I think Jack Jones is going to be a next one up for our corner wise. You know what I mean? We used to talk about him all year long, Deets, Jack Jones and his cover skills. But you know what I mean? I'm definitely need receivers, man. I like Thornton. Thornton had a good little year, but we need another tight end. I hope we can throw a couple change at Kamari Avert. I like for him because Jono Smith, I like him in like a fullback set. You know what I mean? Go back to the fullback set like we used to do it back in the day. But we definitely need some receivers help and tight end play.
The other thing, it's going to be interesting this year to see what Mac Jones, how Mac Jones comes back. Because
I'm glad Bill O'Brien coming back. He had him before.
Jones, the first year, first off season, he was getting all the love.
No, but listen,
this
he
off season, he's getting all the hate.
You gotta understand. First of all, he had Josh McDaniels there as his offensive coordinator, so he had that person there. This year, he had Patricia and Joe Judge. Yeah. Patricia and Joe Judge. None of them who you think, when you think of them, you think of an offensive-minded genius. When you think of Josh McDaniels, you know he's an offensive stud. You know he knows his offenses. That's his thing.
6 rings. You don't get that by accident.
Patricia's not an offense coordinator. Joe Judge is definitely not. Joe Judge he needs to go back to special teams. Anyway,
say that again.
So bringing Bill O'Brien in.
Cole say trash.
He's trash. He's trash. But bringing in Bill O'Brien to run that offense, to help run that offense was a great. That was a great pickup. That was a great pickup for them.
And we've seen what Mac Jones and Bill O'Brien can do.
Yes,
because they were together at Alabama when Mac Jones was winning national championships and all that. But Wise, you talk about this on your program all the time. If all you're hearing is negative stuff, that affects the way the way you feel about yourself. The same way, if you hear positive stuff all the time, you go into new situations feeling positive. And that's what I'm saying with Mac Jones is Mac Jones, his first year was hearing all positive stuff.
Well, he's
getting an off season where he's going to hear all negative stuff.
He was the second coming of Brady. He was the second coming of Brady.
Baby goat. People was calling him Baby Goat.
He was the second coming. That was wrong. You shouldn't have put that pressure on him. Like
and now people are talking about whether they should get rid of him. Mm-hmm. And how does that affect his preparation coming into the season? He's got to take a huge step up. If he's expecting this team to make the playoffs, he has to take a huge step.
Yeah. And Deech, you heard in the bars and in that Connecticut area, Bailey Zapp. He was screaming down to the to the field, put Bailey Zapp in front of Bill Belichick in multiple games, man. So he got a really short leash, man. he definitely got a short leash. He got to improve and show.
He has to go back to year one.
Yeah.
Go back to what he was doing, help him, and just it's easier said than done to just really take last year and just wash away with it, just put it on like, and that's the thing, man. As far when it comes to these athletes, like when your mental's not right, when your mental is not right, you are trash.
Look at Big Simmons. Look at Ben Simmons in New York right now. He's scared to take a layup.
He got some serious issues. Like the Sixers have damaged him beyond repair. But
I mean,
but I think Mac Jones has got a little bit more thick skin than that. I think he's listen, when you can play for Saban and you can play for Belichick, you gotta have thick skin. You really do.
Nick Saban cursed someone out. He cursed a motherfucker out.
Nick Saban will curse a motherfucker out in a heartbeat. And saying and Belichick, he just gives he probably won't curse you, but Belichick will let you know.
He suspended Malcolm Butler in the Super Bowl, and he suspended Jack Jones for the last because he missed rehab for the last game.
We still have no answer. We still
know.
It's been almost a decade, and we have no answer why Malcolm Butler did not play in that Super Bowl.
Yeah. No one knows.
But I'm hearing Matt Patricia might get like another D coordinator job somewhere else. Or he's going back to the defensive side. That's what I'm hearing.
Well,
on reports wise, he's going back to.
He should. He should. He's a defensive guy, and you can actually say he's a defensive genius.
That's why it blew my mind. It blew my mind when they made him the co-offensive coordinator with Joe Judge. Like, really? What the hell were y'all thinking?
Another one about to be leaving out of there is Gerard Mayo. A couple more seasons, he's going to be out of there. He's going to get a head coaching job. There's been really great reports about him.
He'll have
in the NFL circle.
The only problem is Belichick disciples do not have the best track record.
That's not true.
Flores is the only positive one.
After that,
after that, the list gets very.
He had a good couple years at Texas.
One couple, and then what? And then the wheels fell off when he thought he could beat Belichick and run the GM position. Right?
That's his fault. His fault.
Instead of just staying the head coach and letting someone else be the GM and do the player personnel.
What about executive? We can give him executive.
He decided that he wanted to pick his own groceries like Belichick and Parcells, and it didn't work out. First of all, he got robbed for DeAndre Hopkins. The Cardinals, when they said, "Oh, you take what's his face, the running back, whatever the hell," he's so. Like
Kendrick Drake? Was it Kendrick Drake?
No, it wasn't Kendrick Drake. No, it was what the hell is he's always hurt? The hell is his name? Oh man. Anyway, that's how bad it was. You don't even remember his name.
Damn, yeah.
That's how bad of a trade that was.
It was a terrible trade.
You give up at that time maybe the best wide receiver in football for trash, for a running back who couldn't stay on the field at all.
You think the minutes yeah, that is crazy. But what do y'all have coming up before we get out of here? I gotta get ready. I got too many shows to go on today. What y'all got coming on?
You're running the gauntlet, huh? I'm
running 4. I got 4 on my channel, and I'm doing one with Snowman later at 3:00. So
wow, you busy.
I'm trying to get it all in.
I got Stuck in My Mind coming up today at 5 p.m. I have a pretty cool guest coming on. And then that's it for today. That's all I got at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Stuck in My Mind podcast on YouTube, BS3 Network. Yeah.
What about you, Deets?
We got fit down on Thursday, and I always say that I'm going to run it on Thursday. I might do Thursday and Saturdays now. That's my thing. But Thursday we got tentatively right now. Hopefully nobody cancels on me again because we have the Saint coming in to do co-hosting duties. So hopefully we get to bring Saint in, and it'll be pretty much just getting to hear his where he's at and getting you set up. But like I said, the combine starts on Thursday, so we'll do our 6 year running. I'll tell you what to look for at the combine because all you're going to hear about is the 40-yard dash and and I'm going to tell you why it's meaningless. You need to watch the other stuff that's going on at the combine.
The vertical and the bench press.
Look what happened. Look what happened a couple years back. John Ross, that 4-1, that 4-1, 4-2. How did that pan out? But
the Maryland guy that the Raiders picked at like 4th because he ran a great 40. It's like no, like
what the hell's
what
his name?
we always say, and I'll explain it on the show.
Darius Haywood Bay.
yeah.
What you say, what you see at the combine needs to be something that matches what you like. If you see a guy who's on the field who's really fast and he runs really fast, then you go, all right, that checks that box. If you see a guy who all of a sudden runs a 4-1 and you're like, wait a minute, I've never seen it. What it does is you go back and watch the tape and say, wait, if this guy can run 4-1, why isn't he running 4-1 on the field? Because there's something wrong here. That's what's important is not that when somebody shocks you at the combine, you need to be like, wait, why didn't I know this before?
Why wasn't it showing on the tape?
Yeah.
That's my thing. Why wasn't this speed and everything was showing on the tape?
So that'll be our Thursday. That'll be our Thursday show of what the combine actually tells you and what the results actually tell you.
How many times has someone made their career by having a great combine? Like there's players that come out and showed out on the combine and people, whoa, yeah. And then when they draft them, bust.
And it's guys like that you look at and you go, oh, this guy had a great combine. And then you look at his tape and you go, well, none of that's here. None of that's in the game footage.
It didn't transmit to the game. It didn't transmit to the game. Yeah. Like,
and that's why I love watching the one reason to watch the combine is I love watching the player drills, and I love watching the coaches that are there that are when they explain the drill. All right, here's what we want to do. Because the funny thing about it is the guys that are there, the combine is not set up. It's not all right. We're going to do this drill to make this guy do hard. The combine is built. We're going to do this so that you look good. We want you to look good. And every coach says that. And hey, we want you to look good. We want you to give your best effort. We're going to make you look good. So here's what you got to do. And that's the best part of the combine is listening to those guys explain it because they're really cool.
Yeah.
But before we get out of here, I got a few announcements. At 4:30, me and Barry, LeBron James versus Michael Jordan. LeBron had tougher competition in the finals. That's at 4:30. 6:05. I have an interview with Paul McCain. And also the HBC Legacy Bowl recap with the Rod Uncensored presents Swag Homies. Go ahead, Waz.
I need to stop that nonsense with LeBron played with better competition in the finals.
I said face. I said face. Better rosters.
I need to stop that.
Yeah. That's not gonna end. That's not gonna end well for you. And if you just write the teams out, it's not gonna end well for you.
Little two-headed ponies they Michael face, but I'm gonna leave that alone. That's another story.
But no, but also that's a debate coming up. Like you got that debate coming up. Oh, teams in the finals. The other thing about Jordan is you got to think early in the 90s, the Eastern Conference Finals was the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
They were facing the bad boy Pistons in the NBA Finals. They were facing better teams. It was like Shaq. It was like Shaq and Kobe when they had their three-peat. Yeah, they faced terrible teams when they made it to the finals because the East was garbage then. The Western Conference final,
come
the
on,
Western
dude.
Conference final was outstanding.
All I gotta say is Phil Jackson plus Scottie Pippen plus Jerry Krause equals 6 rings. I gotta leave that alone. But I appreciate y'all coming on. I appreciate y'all coming on, man.
I'm just telling you, there's other factors to. Oh, they faced this team in the finals. Yeah, but they played the bad boy Pistons before they even played that. They played the second best. They played the third best team of all time.
I understand, D. So I'm saving that for 4:30.
I get it. I get it. It's not in the finals, but it was the finals. We all knew the winner of this series is going to win the championship.
Yeah.
Like we all knew.
All right, I appreciate y'all coming on. Wise, I'll check your stuff out at 5. Beats, I'm looking forward to your stuff on Thursday and Saturday,
and possible Saturday.
All right, thank you.
Wait, hold on. But soon, so I'm switching up the format. So Wednesdays, I'm going to be doing a freestyle Wednesdays, which I will be inviting podcasters to come on and talk on my show. So it's so eventually you and Dieter come on and.
What time are we gonna do that?
It'll be 5 o'clock. It won't be today. It's down the line. It'll be down the line.
I'll be at work at 5 o'clock on Wednesdays.
It's transitioning. We'll work something out.
All right.
Yeah, definitely.
But all right, guys. Later.
This has been an episode of Middays Sports with Rod and Lunch Crew, and now we're out. See y'all later.
Peace.
Peace.